Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our keynote speaker on stage, Rohan Jayaweera, co-founder director of Antira Solutions and former country consultant at Google.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wow, silent. This is a little bit different from where I used to be about 10, 15, well, not exactly 10 years ago. I know there are a few people who are seated there who are hiding, right? And I think I wanted to throw a very big shout out to those people, those 4 or 5 people, and there are a few missing now. But I was thinking, Uday, you remember the videos we used to make? What an amazing opening. Thank you everyone for being here. My name is Rohan Jayaweera. I'll introduce myself a little bit as we go along, and it's such a privilege after 10 years to come back and speak at this incredible event. I remember 2012, 2013, we had it at Park Street Muse. We had about, 300, 400? And now it's about 1,200. The evolution has been really, really incredible. So thank you, everyone. And I've been given the topic to talk about. The topic was evolution of future. I thought I'll just change it a little bit and I'll speak about elusive future. And then I will just speak to you a little bit about, and I'd love to see all of you guys, sitting through the sessions and all that. And also, very importantly to the organizers, I need my t-shirt, right? These guys never used to give me the t-shirt, so there's a bit of a 10-year grudge I keep. Yeah, so this is what 2012 looked like, 2013 looked like for Google. We were barely, we had a first student ambassador program there. So as I said, I'm very emotional about this. A lot of fond memories about it. And I think everything started at that kind of 2010 onwards. Of course, Keshan had been doing an incredible job onwards. And that's the first Google I/O, by the way. We had it at the Foundation Institute. And for that one, we had 2,000 people turning up. And I remember the pizza bill. We paid for pizza with, Damik is also here, about 3 million rupees for the pizza bill on that night. That was really, really incredible times. So, but anyway, let's get into what we are here. I wanted to show you this particular video. And I really wish that we actually had this technology available today. And this is about a new age of dating, right? This is what the technology that all of us wanted when we were at least I wanted about 20 years ago. Never really had the talent, right? Imagine having this incredible kind of a technology in your eyes, helping you, what we call like a wingman, right? And then kind of telling you how it's really all going, whether it's really good and bad. Now, just to be on the safe side, this is not just him doing it, okay? This is both sides are doing it, and the technology is there. So I think it's really, really interesting about when you look at what AI and what the future and all those things that can be put in the eyes. But only thing I think we haven't figured out, hopefully Elon will figure it out, is how do we really power it? How do we really put the battery into this, right? The energy is the problem. The rest of it, if we actually have it. By the way, all of the clips I'm showing you, I think this is the only one. All of them are on YouTube, so you can just check it out yourself. By the way, this is a much longer video, right, if you want to see it, right? But here's me. I think very important slide I wanted to show you is more than that, a little bit of this. So the company that really transformed me was Google. And that's why it's such an emotional thing to come back after 10 years and be able to give this keynote speech. And also remember the people who really shouldered putting these kind of events together. And by the way, seeing 1,000 people is incredible. I know that Google I/O has taken a complete life on its own as well, which is incredible as well. Only thing we couldn't really figure out is the mapmaker and the GBG, right? The rest of it actually happened. What I want to talk to you about for the next 15 minutes is about, it's completely built around this particular sentence. It's about the future belongs to those who see possibilities before they become obvious, right? And I think for you, I think that's really, really important. You guys are going through, I'm 20 plus years, 25 plus years, have worked in few companies, settled kind of in so many ways. You guys are just trying to figure it out, probably in the university already, or just out of university and starting your career. And I know the new trend is let's go abroad, right? Let's figure it out and go abroad or work for a foreign company from Sri Lanka. So it's a really interesting, challenging times. But I'm not going to talk about those things today very specifically. But I want to talk a little bit about thinking about the future and what future might be able to hold. And I think I always say, like, you can be a specialist in a stabilized industry, or you could choose to be a generalist in a growth industry. And always try to position yourself with growth industries for your career, because that's what will take you to the next level. Today, agenda is about 4 areas. I'll skip this. There are more important stuff to talk about. Talking about transformation. One of the very important things that Elon Musk did was that he brought down sending a 1 kilogram to space from about $3,000-4,000. $6,000 is when it was in the Second World War time, sending a 1 kilogram to space. He brought it down to about $300 per kilogram, and that's why space tourism became a big thing. But it's really interesting about is that how he thought about solving that problem. I don't know whether Elon Musk invented that, but that's not the point. The point is for you also to start thinking about problems this way. There's a great guy, if you want to read about it, called Brett King. There are a couple of keynotes of him on YouTube as well. You can just read about it. What he says is it's about looking at problems and thinking about it from what we call first principle thinking. It's about we have this. How do we solve this with all what we have today, like the computational power, AI, machine learning, 3D printing, blockchain, all this like technologies that are or trends that we have. How do we use that to solve the problem that we actually have without saying, oh, the industry has seen this growth for the last 20, 30 years. How do we make it 10% better, 5% better, 15% better? Now, if you look at the banking industry of Sri Lanka, it's kind of stagnant, right? None of us are really getting anything out of it. It's the same stuff. Everyone has the same products, same things, but nobody has really challenged themselves to solve the problem in a different way. And that is why that's what we call thinking from a first principle thinking versus iterative thinking. Don't ever, when you think about problems, try as much as possible not to think about iterative. Think about how do we do first principle thinking? How do I solve this better, faster, in a completely new way that others haven't thought about? So my entire next 15 minutes is about trying to give you examples and give you some kind of a thinking pattern that might help you in that way. Now, there are examples about it. No slide deck about future will be complete without talking about Teslas and SpaceX and all of those different stuff, right? Airbnb and Uber and all of that. So I'm also covering that here. But this is what Uber did, right? This is what Airbnb did. They thought about the problem in a very different way, created a platform. Are there compromises? Yes, there were compromises. Were there things that they needed to resolve? Yes. Is it perfect match to the existing one? No, but they didn't try to go out there and build another hotel chain, right? They built a platform. And I think this platform thinking is going to be really important for you over a period of time. So organizations have been evolving. Life has been evolving. The way we work has been evolving. A lot of things have been evolving. What I want to do now is to just give you a little bit of context about how we have got here before I speak a little bit about the future. First of all is that depending on whom you ask, maybe the first industrial revolution, whatever, we had the steam engines, we had the supply chain, Henry Ford, and all those different things that came along and kind of evolved. But really, transformation started happening in towards 1940s and 50s onwards, right? That's when the computational power started to kind of take over, right? 1950s, the computer system started to come in. General Electric deployed the first HR or payroll system. IBM deployed the first core banking solutions. And then, of course, 1992, if I'm not mistaken, as a part of the defense research, made it worldwide, made it available to everyone worldwide, and the internet was born. And in 1996, of course, Larry Page and Sergey Brin started as a master's or a PhD thesis. It was called Backrub. And then in 1998, when they wanted to do a commercial transaction, derived out of the mathematical term with 1 followed by 100 zeros, which is called Google, the name Google was born, and thanks to that, we are all here today. And what an amazing, incredible journey that had been, right? And of course, we say the next era belongs to what we call big data and AI, and there's a lot of interesting stuff happening about it. We'll talk a little bit about that a bit later, but this is what I think what really gonna change the future for all of us, the way that it's gonna happen. It's not about technology, to be honest. It's about our ability to imagine first principle thinking about how businesses and everything need to be done that will change the world. I think it's going to be very exciting time. There's a gentleman called Mark Benioff. He started this incredible CRM company called Salesforce.com, very first cloud CRM solution, competed with IBM and a few others. And he said, today you are not competing with traditional competitors anymore. You are competing with speed. Your ability to do things faster, ability to do things more accurately, ability to deliver more experiences, not transactions, ability to derive insights, not data. And I think this is what really going to be the competitive advantage, not just for businesses, all of us as individuals as well. I've had a very interesting slide, but I removed it because people might get offended, because the reason what I said was your first degree, honestly, genuinely does not matter, right? So that's another important thing. So let's talk about organizations that are getting transformed today. And this picture belongs to Kodak. We know the story behind Kodak. We know the story about Blockbuster. We know what happened with organizations such as Nokia, BlackBerry, right? They are kind of got replaced, right? So here's a exceptionally important couple of examples I want to talk to you about. The first example, 3 out of the 3 examples, the first example is about EasyJet, who came up with this incredible pair of shoes that does real-time data analytics and vibrate and tell you directions how to do it. It wasn't created by Nike, it wasn't created by Adidas, it was created by EasyJet, low-cost airline carrier. Just about reimagining, because they provide a lot of single hop kind of travel and vacations to a lot of travelers. The second one is, I forget the name of the warehouse, but completely run by robots, completely algorithm driven, no human interventions. And I think this is interesting that even Elon Musk was asked, why do you not apply humans to work in your supply chain to make Teslas? He said, if I have humans there, I will have to slow down my manufacturing speed. So there's something really interesting happening about algorithms and robots. Robots are also one of the biggest markets. That's why a lot of organizations are getting in. I'm sure that all of us are very excited when we see Boston Dynamics dancing robots, that the videos come out. The reason why is that one of the biggest markets for robots is as companions for humans. And they think that will evolve in the next 10 years. It'll be interesting how the dating market would look also. Then the chess to go was that in 1997, Garry Kasparov was beaten by the Big Blue. In 2016, you really should watch this. AlphaGo, which is the Google's AI, beat Lee Sedol, who is the South Korean world champion in the chess game called Go, for the first time. And out of 5 games, he beat the champion in 4 times. Why was that important? It proved that today we have AI that can think intuitively, not computationally. IBM's challenge was always about how can I do more number of transactions, versus in Go game, you can't do transactions because the number of calculations are bigger than the protons in the universe or something like that. So you have to play the game with more intuition, more like what we call in human nature the gut feeling, because it felt right. I liked it type of feelings, right? And that 2016, the fact that AlphaGo was able to beat Lee Sedol was one of the incredible stories about how that the technology has evolved, and then how the machines are becoming very interestingly. There's a particular music video, if you get the chance to watch it. The Sony AI Labs created the first song. I think it was released in about 4 or 5 years ago. You can just Google it, obviously, and then check it out. And I think there's some interesting case study about how music is evolving with AI. Just wanted to cover about the work. And this is one of the really important things that you may want to think about. Why did I say that your first degree will not matter? Because the reason is that what organizations today really look for in the future isn't really your degree. It's about your ability to problem solve. In order for you to problem solve, you have to start thinking about developing this particular skill called computational thinking. How do you really think about a problem the way that the machines would think about it? Break a big problem into small components. How do we exercise executing those small components parallelly or sequentially in a way that solves the bigger problem. So that's a very, very important skill set that you need to start thinking about developing. And these are the people who are recruited by organizations today, not so much people with a particular skill set, because a lot of things can be RPA'd out, right? The second one is about the businesses transforming itself from organizations to what we call platforms. It's like the Ubers and Airbnbs. Are people in that ecosystem employed by those companies? No, they are not. But do they have a job? Yes, they have a job. Now, the rise of gig economy, rise of e-lancers and so many other platforms, what they're really doing is that the transition of organizations from businesses to become platforms. And I think that's a really powerful kind of evolution that we are going to see as well. Sorry, there's one other thing that about the Formula One cars. It is about building flexibility to yourself and also to the organization. It's about being able to drive a car that looks the same, but depending on the terrain, depending on the Grand Prix you are taking part, like the Singapore, you have to have maneuverability, but in Italy you have to have speed. Like that, you have to be able to change its terrain, based on the terrain, change its performance in a very flexible, agile, dynamic way. That's important for businesses as well as for yourself. The customers, hyper-personalize. Google single-handedly changed the advertising landscape when they introduced AdWords, right? It's probably the greatest advertising MarTech piece of technology that was ever developed in human civilization. Since Facebook copied it, it still remains as one of the best out there. And what it does is what challenged Porter. What Porter is the marketing guru who said that either you have to be a price competitor or you have to have differentiator. But Google's AdWords created a level of hyper-personalization capability that kind of put some of these old theories out of its window. And I think that's a very, very powerful thing. The second one is about prime time all the time. TV guys used to have prime time, Sunday 7 to 5. Today, prime time is right now, right here, right? And you don't have to look for it. You don't have to sit in front of it. You can pull the information either from YouTube, either from Netflix, either from any of the streaming services. So customers have completely transformed and will continue to transform and evolve. And that's one of the very important things that will happen. I'm doing this a little fast so that I don't really have a time in front of me, but this will be the last couple of slides I want to say. So what are the things that you guys need to think about? We need to start thinking about data in a very different light. And a lot of times people don't really give a real appreciation towards what does really data mean. A lot of times we talk about advanced analytics and AI, but we do have very little understanding about data engineering and platform engineering. We don't have a lot of understanding about UI, UX, and visualization. And I think that's really, really important to start taking a lot of control on that. The second one is about algorithmic leaders. It's about thinking that computation and capability and say, what are those repetitive tasks? How do we really automate all of that components? And how do we really drive change inside that? The second one is about how do we really bring in talent? And today, I can tell you with my experience for the last 5 years, what we struggle for is talent. People like y'all who could change the world, who can think about things differently. How do we really enable you guys to do your best work that you enjoy, you just be happy about, and also make you successful while the organization or the platform becomes successful? So gig economy and things like that will continue to become even more powerful. The fourth one is about open innovation. What is open innovation? We can't do everything all by ourselves. How do we bring startups, ecosystems into our into our ecosystem, and how do we collaborate out the things that which are not completely supporting us and helping us to grow to be bigger and better? And of course, last one, I think at the end of the day, next 15 to 20 years will always be about artificial intelligence. I think this is what will be a paradigm shifting transformation that we have been waiting for, that will happen. Most likely, as for internet, how did it transform the work, play, learn, and everything in 1990s, I think AI is going to be the one that's going to do it for us. And very importantly, and I think in the back of some of the things, I want to acknowledge certain incidents that happened in Sri Lanka over the last couple of weeks. We are obviously very shocked and surprised by some of those things. today is, I'm not going to touch up on any of that, but what I want to say is about your operating system with any of this to make it happen and real is your organizational culture, right? Your organizational culture needs to start thinking about very different things today if they haven't already over the last 3-5 years. And I think that's a really, really important thing, right? Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Management guru Peter Drucker had said that. So with that, I want to just say, I don't have a Q&A, unfortunately or fortunately for me, but I'll be hanging around. Happy to talk to you guys. I want to acknowledge 5-6 gentlemen who are seated here right in front of me. Thank you for making DevFest to where it is today, 10 years on. And you guys, I know nobody even knows you. I know that when you come up, people might ask, who are you? Have you registered already, right? But these 5-6 people, I'm not going to mention names because I'm really pressurized right now that I'll forget the names, right? But I know some of the videos we made, and when I saw the opening, I was like, wow, we have really moved to the next level. But I wanted to say thank you to those people who made it happen. Thank you to the organizers for inviting me back. It's truly an incredible time for you guys. And I hope you'll make the best out of DevFest 2022. We are so happy after 10 years. It has grown, and you guys are continuing to show the support for Google and for its kind of technology and what we have been able to achieve over the years. So thank you very much. Anyway, one last thing. Yes, copying Steve Jobs. This is something that I always used to finish all my presentations when I was at Google, and all of my presentations had this as the last slide. It's just memory for me coming back. And it says, if you want to achieve greatness, stop asking for permission. This was one of the hoardings, I think was in one of the canteens of Google cafeterias. They had it about 10-15 years ago, and someone took the picture and sent it to me when I was at Google. So I wanted to park it with you, and that's the same message I'm going to leave behind for all of you. And you all are almost 20 years, your career is you're just at the beginning. If you want to achieve greatness, stop asking for permission. Good luck to you. Good luck to the organizers. Have an incredible DevFest 2022. It's such a privilege. And please feel free to keep in touch with me if you want to. Thank you very much.
Rohan Jayaweera, and I would like to ask you to be on stage. I would like to call Taraka Devinda, former GDG Sri Lanka lead, to give away the token of appreciation for Mr. Rohan Jayaweera.